Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you for joining us. Happy Wednesday, wherever you're joining us from. And if your day is just starting off like it is for us out here in California, well, thank you for being here. And I hope that you have a lovely day, a day full of love and a day full of laughs and many, many blessings. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. I am glad you're here with us today. And of course, we're celebrating a new book. This one I love so much. And I love it because I love it. Well, this one is called I Love You Because I Love You. And it is written by a very good friend, Moun Thi, and illustrations by Jessica Love. And we'll be getting started with that one very, very shortly. And of course, as you know, Moun is here with us today. So I'm super excited to bring her on as we'll be tag teaming this one. I love it so much. Thank you for joining in on Storytime. Glad you're here. Please get comfortable, get cozy, and get ready for a beautiful story. Yes, something to warm your heart early in the morning. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Please stick around for this one. I absolutely love it. Let us see who is with us this morning before we bring on our guest and get started with this story. And of course, talk a little bit about this amazing book. I love it from the first time I saw it, and I hope that you too today love it as much as I do, or even more. And hopefully it is not the first time and the last time that you'll be reading this one. I hope that you read it more and more. Find it at your local library and of course where you find books. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Support those local bookstores, the indie bookstores. Request your book. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Welcome. As always, let us know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. Yes, the more the merrier. Share with friends, neighbors. Tell them we're here. Storytime is here, reading books, enjoying books, and of course, most importantly, learning from each other and building community. Thank you so much for joining us. I am glad we're here. Let us see who is with us, ready for this story. Good morning to you, Amanda Waltman. How are you doing today? Good to see you joining us out in Seattle. And of course, baby Bia, hugs. Oh, I love the snuggling up. This is what this book is all about. And excited for today's story. Thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you're here. Baby Bia, good to see you here. Even though it's cloudy in Seattle, I bet you this book will lift away those clouds today. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. And we're staying in Washington. Good morning to you, Jessica. And of course, Ali Amin, thank you for joining us. And you say, we're starting to see some light out here. Well, thank you for sharing that bit. Absolutely love it. Yes, absolutely love it. Thank you for being here. Same here in Oakland. The light is out. It is nice and bright, and it promises to be a bright day indeed. Thank you for joining in. I hope that your day is indeed a bright one, full of love. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Ali Amin, and Jessica out in Washington. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you. Good morning, Nathan and Sarah. How are you doing? It is a little overcast out in Illinois, you say. Rain and ice and snow on the way for you tomorrow. Oh my goodness, you know we have the perfect book for you to just snuggle up to and be inside. Hot chocolate, hot drinks, good drinks, and enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for joining in. Please, you stay warm. I hope that you'll be warm and you indeed have everything that you need. Thank you so much for joining us. Sarah, how are you doing one more time? And Nathan, and of course, Amanda West, thank you for being here on Storytime. Betty Deshay, good morning to you. And of course, Rikia, how are you doing, sweetheart? Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Good to see you here. I hope you're ready for this wonderful story. Indeed, it is indeed a beautiful one. In this month of love, as we celebrate love, it should be an everyday thing. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining in. And these books are here all year round. Books that are beautiful, books that we indeed can relate to. And I hope that this one warms your heart to the max. Thank you so much for joining in. Without much ado, please join me in welcoming our special guest for today, the amazing Moun Thi band. Welcome to Storytime.
Hi, Peter. Hi, everyone.
Good to see you here.
Good to see you.
I wish this was you are here in person and would read this, but we're going to make it happen soon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we only live like half an hour from each other, so someday we'll make it happen.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Moun. It's always good to see you, and I'm glad you're here this morning too. And this
Same
early
here.
too, yeah.
Yeah, I kept checking my alarm clock.
Well, glad you're here. Moun, I know you know like amazing books that you've given us over the years, and you have another one.
Mhm.
I love this one so much. I love you because I love you. What inspired this one before we get into the reading of it?
Miles.
Yeah, I can
This,
picture that.
I think it's this is really like both a love letter to my kids,
Yeah.
as well as like my meditation, my personal meditation on love and exploring the various relationships I've had in my life that involve love, especially with my mom, but also with my siblings, some close friends, you know, even with like some of my uncles and aunts, and obviously also with my husband, and just I try to distill the elements of love within this story, and you know, across all those relationships. And I hope that it resonates with readers. I hope that like when they read this book, you know, that they can also see themselves and their families and their relationships.
Yeah, no, that is wonderful. It is a beautiful book, and I have read it, and thank you, you know, for really sharing that copy. It's just such a beautiful book, and it resonates with me. There's so much that I love about it, and I know that many others out there too will fall in love with this book for sure. But we'll come back and talk more about it. And then you have a unique way, well, you know, like one that is, I think this is your first book that is a call and response, is it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So why that technique, and what inspired that part?
Well, you know, there are a number of picture books out there that sort of explore this topic or a similar topic.
Yeah.
And I usually found that they were written from like a parent's perspective, and it was just like the parent's effusiveness just gushing out, you know, towards the child, and the child's just like they're just receiving it, and it just seemed like a one-way street. And you know, I think true love usually is a dialogue, is a two-way street. You know, even as much as you love someone, if they don't love you back, eventually I think the love can't be sustained. So, you know, I have a 2-year-old right now, and you know, in the first year of her life, maybe even the first 2 years, you know, she's mainly the recipient of the love, but at some point she starts reciprocating, because otherwise it's not a very fulfilling relationship.
No, true.
So I wanted to have that be reflected in this story. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get into our reading. We have so many people I know who are anxiously waiting out there to listen to this one. But yeah, we'll read it. You start us off, and then I will join in. All right.
Okay,
So
great.
this one is called "I Love You Because I Love You," and it is written by our amazing guest today, Moun Thi, and illustrations by Jessica Love. And we're reading this one with permission of Ketlin, I always forget that, Catherine Tegen Books, an imprint of HarperCollins. So thank you for joining in today, and I'm glad that we have this book here with us today. So let us get ready for this one, and Mon, you can take us away.
Okay. I Love You Because I Love You by Moun Thi and Jessica Love.
Now, now that you said your name, now I can't say it again because I just feel
It's okay. And I always tell people, feel free to call me Moon also. I also go by Moon. So,
okay.
So never feel daunted.
And you dedicated this one to your family. And
Yes.
for Jessica, she says, I love you to her mom and dad. All right.
Yes.
Here we go.
I love you because you're you.
Oh, that is so sweet. I love that spread.
I actually have an interesting tidbit about that spread.
Oh,
that
yes.
I can share later.
Please. Oh, yes. Please do tell when we get that.
This is, yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah. Peter.
And, yeah, that's me. All right. And I love you because you are here.
Because I love you, I'm here.
I love you because you carry me.
Because I love you, I am strong.
I love you because you play with me.
Because I love you, the world becomes our playground.
I love you because you see what others miss.
Because I love you, I see more than before.
I love you because you let me speak.
Because I love you, love blooms where our voices meet.
Oh. I love you because you cook with care.
Because I love you, food tastes better when shared.
I love you because you let me make mistakes.
Because I love you, no mistake is ever too great.
I love you because you know when I'm sad.
Because I love you, I share the good with the bad.
I love you because you're brave when I am afraid.
Because I love you, I am braver every day.
I love you because you wait for me.
Because I love you, you're never too late.
Oh. I love you because you tell the best stories.
Because I love you, my best story is you.
Oh. I love you because we go together.
Because I love you, we change and grow together.
I love you because
I love you.
oh. Yeah. Oh, Mon, that is such a beautiful book. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Oh,
of course, couldn't have been such a beautiful book without Jessica's art, which is just, I think,
yeah. Let me just put you on the screen
remarkable.
here so you can show off that art. It is, yeah,
It's
no,
just
it's just,
so beautiful.
yeah. And since you bring up Jessica too, how was it working with Jessica?
It was wonderful. I mean, I think there was a little bit more dialogue in
Yes.
this book, which is, uh, funny,
Yeah.
considering that that this book is a dialogue. Uh, so I enjoyed it very much, and
Yeah.
I hope that I also didn't, annoy Jessica too much with
Ah.
suggestions. And she was just so generous, and I think she just manages to capture the essence of the book so well. I think this was
Uh-huh.
like my toughest manuscript um, to illustrate thus far,
Oh yeah.
and so I was very impressed that she was able to just bring such heart and soul to this story, and every spread depicts a different family or
Yeah.
group of friends, and they just seem so fully realized. Like,
Right.
I just want to know each individual and each family
Individually.
more,
Yeah.
but just through one or two pages you get a real sense of who they are.
Yeah. No, it is such a beautiful book. And like you're saying too, with that dialogue, and you say this one being your toughest manuscript so far, what made it what made it hard or what made it tough this time around?
I think it's, first of all, it's more abstract. There's no central character or
Mm,
narrative or situation. um, the concept of love is pretty abstract,
right.
and um, we wanted to, I wanted to, and the editor, and I think Jessica also, we all wanted to include as many different types of individuals and families and relationships
Yeah.
as possible, and so just uh, it just to try to capture all of that
Yeah.
while still creating a story that is compelling, and you know that engages the reader and
Yeah.
still has some sort of narrative, even though the characters keep changing and there are no names and situations exactly.
Yeah.
I think that was tough.
Yeah, no, that's it's amazing, and to think that after so many books down the line,
Yeah,
you still come across learning like that.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And usually for some of my manuscripts where some of the stories where the text is very spare, I will usually include some minimal illustration notes. And so here I tried not to, and um, the ones that I didn't feel were really like top notch suggestions. So luckily, Jessica, just
Yeah.
managed to pull through there and
No,
take
it
it,
is
take it.
amazing, Mon. It is an
Yeah.
amazing book. And that's the thing. Like, I'm glad that you're giving us some of that insight into what goes on in your thinking, in your background, and creating all these amazing things, right? Such a beautiful story. And we see the end product of it. And
Mhm.
I know that, like there's so much more that you see. And I hope that through your eyes or through, like we can get to see more of that as well and appreciate the book even more. Because
Yeah.
it is a beautiful book in its own, but it's those extra bits that you add that just make it, take it to that next level too. So you mentioned the first spread having a little tidbit on it. What was it? And let me just see if I can.
So with this spread, so during, I think maybe close to the beginning of the pandemic, maybe Jessica sent out a call for on Instagram for folks to send in photos of people that they love, and and photos of themselves with the people that they love.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is when it was submitted, but this is actually inspired by a photo that CG Esperanza sent with his mom. And so I
Oh,
don't know if you know CG Esperanza, but he just won a bunch of awards.
yeah. Let me just
Um,
could bring you up so people can see that.
and
Wow.
he is the author and illustrator of this book, Boogie Boogie Y'all.
I know that one.
which is a wonderful book and so original and
Yeah.
just has so much energy in it, and I love it.
Oh,
And so let's see here. Here's a photo of him. Let's see.
yes.
So that beginning image, I believe, was inspired by one of the photo that he sent Jessica.
That he sent Jessica. Oh,
But I believe so. So
yeah.
that's such an honor to have him in the book.
Yeah.
With his mom.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And I wish I had sent in a photo too.
I know. I also was not aware of this call, but yeah,
You have to do
next
part
time.
2. Yeah.
We'll have to do a follow-up book, and everyone can send in all their photos, and Jessica will need a secretary.
Well, Pamela Courtney out in Nakitosh, Louisiana. Good morning to you, of course, and Braylon and Chad. And they're saying too, just say, phew, this story is filled with beautiful emotions. You know, like she's homeschooling, as the homeschooling kinfolk and herself are discussing the amazing illustrations by Jessica Love.
Yeah. And speaking of art, so and challenging, and how I thought it was challenging to illustrate. Maybe we could go to the very last spread.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I love you because I love you. So this one was also another spread that was, this is essentially like the final, this is the major final spread, and
Yeah.
I think it was unclear how would this be conveyed, these 2 lines.
Yeah.
And in my illustration notes, which weren't so, as I say, they weren't so top notch, I was like, maybe there could be like a community picnic, and we would see all the families, and they'd just be eating, and
Yeah.
kind of like some of them might know each other and some of them won't. And that was an okay idea. It wasn't the best for sure.
No.
And and then in the sketch, in the first sketch, like Jessica had thought maybe all these folks most of them were living in the same apartment building, and there's some others were walking by. But then she also wasn't satisfied with that, and then she had this stroke of genius, which I really think is a stroke of genius, and she came up with this idea, which I think just captures the final sentiment.
Yeah.
And it ties the book in so well, and just a circle of love.
Yeah.
And with dancing and loud movement and energy, I think it was so brilliant that she did like
and
that.
I'm seeing, is it a heart too or no?
I'm not sure if it's exactly a heart. I think I don't know what it could be, but I thought of it more as a circle. Yeah.
No, it's amazing to see, like to hear that too, and it is a beautiful one indeed. And I have.
It might be a little bit of a heart. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Like like I say, with picture books, you're always seeing more and more, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the front cover.
Yes.
I do feel like it resembles a bit more of a heart. So you might have something there. Maybe I just never considered it as a heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Moun Thi, Amanda says, like, what a beautiful book. What gorgeous illustrations. I was brought to tears on more than one page. Like,
thank you.
To think of that impact that you have. And Amanda too has a little one as well, about your son's age, the little one. Amanda, if you can help me out, I think baby Bia is just close to 2. But just thinking too, like you've mentioned many times that I've talked to you, and many times too that in your books I've seen it. You say your children are your best stories. How do they influence your writing?
Sometimes they inspire some of my writing, and sometimes they don't. Definitely my family past and present are very much an inspiration for my stories. I think definitely for this one, I do feel like it is possible that I wouldn't have been able. I for sure I wouldn't have been able to write this exact story without my children. You know,
Yeah.
just there's there are just certain things that I feel like I needed to experience as a parent in order to write this.
To write this. Yeah.
And you know, I think probably as with most parents, you know, my children are my best stories. You know, they're like the most interesting stories and the most I don't know, absorbing
Yeah.
and just wonderful stories that I could tell. So
Yeah, no, and it is just beautiful to see it, to feel it, and I'm sure everybody that is watching too right now can
yeah.
feel that love, feel the intense love that you have for your family, you know, for your little ones, and this story does bring out a lot of that too. I feel the love, and like, you know, like Amanda is saying, and like Pamela Courtney is saying too, with Braylon and Chad, like it is definitely one you want to come back to, and you just I have images of my own people in my head as I'm reading this, and I hope that everybody out there, you know, like is having a similar, like, where you're thinking of the ones that you love, and it's making me do that. And one of the things too that they mention is going back to that the shape of the heart and feeling, and say holding of hands around the world in the shape of the heart, like, you know, so more emotions around that, more love for that. But it's just such an amazing book. I really appreciate you, you know, you writing this and helping express, I think, what sometimes many of us might feel, but not be able to express in quite the same way. And I think too, like one of the things, I know you say this one is meant to be a dialogue, but I'm thinking too, and I'm sure you've come up, you know, you probably thought of this too. Like, I think it's such a good opportunity, especially for cultures that maybe don't get to say "I love you" as much. I don't know if your family experience, if you know, like you experienced a similar thing where, you know, like I knew, like my mom told me she loved me, but there were also time stretches where that did not happen. But you just kind of were expected to know that you were loved. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. This I did also like that was one of the hopes for this book is that, you know, it can help in, you know, families articulate their love to one another. If they have, you know, for some families like my family, we actually, you know, my family that I grew up in, we've never said I love you to each other.
Oh, wow,
So, you know, if you read this book together, you're kind of saying it to each other without having to look at each other and saying those three tough words.
Yeah, no, and it does, you know, like it made me giggle too every time I said I love you, because of some, like it just made me giggle. Like it made me, it gave me this good feeling. So I, you know, like it's just, I hope that everybody out there too gets to try it,
Absolutely.
and yeah, it is a really good exercise too. I wonder how many like spaces too where, you know, like maybe children needing help or even adults needing help will get this book and be able to, you know, like read it to each other and break those barriers. I love it so much. I think just the possibilities are endless with this.
Yeah, and I also think you know, you can read it with more than two people. Really, like you don't actually need to confine it to just two people.
Yeah.
And also, although the book, you know, the art as such, it is centered around you know, families and, you know, kids and their guardians or their friends and such. I did write the story so that it could be also be read by two people, you know, two adults in a loving relationship. That it doesn't have to necessarily involve children.
Yeah. No, it is. I'm picturing so much of these and just imagining everybody, you know, sitting there, whether you're sharing the same book or you're reading from two books, and just so many amazing scenes going on in my head. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Also,
Yeah,
you know, like,
I think I hope that you know, that this book just brings more joy and more love into the world. That's really the aim of this book. Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And Amanda too is saying, you know, yes, my kids have definitely shaped me and changed me in so many ways I wasn't expecting. Just going back to what you were saying earlier too. Yeah, I love that. And Amanda, when is Bia's birthday? April is my mom's birth month, April 4th. So is it April 4th? Is it April 4th?
Well, speaking of which, actually, I was thinking that, I think also for me of our parents that we the children are their best stories too, and this would be a great book to read with a parent.
Yeah, no, it is. That is, yeah, it is so true. And you forget, sometimes you become adults and you forget that you're someone's kids too.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And then Chrissy, another parent there too of a young one, Borden. I hope that later on you can read it together, rewatch it together. It is such an amazing book, and I hope that you find it too, wherever you find books. Chrissy, this one, I love you because I love you. Yeah, Mon just outdid herself in this one. It is such an amazing book, and yeah, I love too that you got to talk to Jessica, because that doesn't happen often, does it, with illustrators and getting to talk?
Yeah, we've only corresponded over email and on Instagram. And I want to give a shout out to our amazing editor, Mabel Sue, who is the reason why we're even working together. Like Jessica and I, like she connected us and she really went all out as an editor. And her vision helped create this book. So
Yes.
thank you, Mabel.
Well, Mabel, thank you for playing your part in bringing this amazing book. And that's
the entire team. Team. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like you're saying, like there are many things that at times we see the front face of it and you forget all the labor that goes into it, and the teams that are around this. This is beautiful. Moun, it's such a pleasure having you here. And for those just joining in, reminding you that we have Moun Thi Van. We read the book, her new book, which is illustrated by Jessica Love. This one is called I Love You Because I Love You. So much gold in this one. I hope that you get a copy, whether it's at your local library or indeed if you can afford one, please go ahead and do that. But this is such a lovely, lovely book. Well written. You can definitely tell it's written from the heart. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to go back to, you've worked on this one and we've had so many other amazing books that you've brought us, and a lot of them too do center around that family and friendships, sibling rivalries and battles. I love that, and I think the most terrible of all, probably, like that one I just love. It just reminds me of all the pranks we used to play on each other with my sisters and my cousins. Family is a theme that you bring up a lot in your books, and I know you mentioned, like your family, your own kids. Are we expecting more of that? Is there more coming in that line, or are we, will there be another, another surprise coming up?
Well, I do have 2 more books coming out, and one is a little bit philosophical, but then it does also relate to family relationships. And I mean, I think in some way, they all in some way or another, they do touch upon that. And then maybe my 10th book, which will come out. So the next one coming out is called The Shape of You. Yeah. And it's published by Kids Can Press. Oh, so it's kind of my take on shapes.
Yeah.
So I'll look forward to hearing what you think.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Is it another one? Have you been talking shapes with your little one, or is it like, how did that come about?
If you really want to know how it came about, I was in the bathroom, and one of my son, who was, I don't know, I think he was like 3 or 4 at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Mommy, is poop a shape?" And apparently he and his like older sibling were like having a debate about, what shapes, what constitutes shapes.
Shape.
So,
oh wow. Yeah.
So that's the inspiration for that story. But poop does not make an appearance in the book.
No.
No, but it definitely. But when he asked that question, I started giving like, like a brief answer. But then within minutes, I kind of had the ending for the book.
Yeah.
I didn't know the rest of the book, but I did know what the ending would be.
Oh,
It's just because I thought shapes, that is that's a good question.
yeah. No, kids just have such amazing questions.
Yeah.
Every time I'm just amazed, and that's the beauty too of being able. I don't have kids of my own, but being able to work in a classroom with little ones and friends with little ones, and just listen to all these amazing questions that I get, and it's just like every time, some that make me laugh, and sometimes it's like I have no response to that. I would research. It's so fun. But before we go to look at that more. His birthday is April 4th. That's my mom's birthday too. Always.
Wow.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Oh, baby bear, now I won't forget. I won't forget your birthday. And I'm going to make a big deal of it every time. Thank you. Oh, that is nice. Yes, and is poop a shape, Amanda? Thank you. Questions are the best. What other questions have you had from your kids? First of all, I was thinking though that if this poop, the book you're writing now, The Shape of You, if that one had that poop anywhere in it, it would have completed, because I've actually been planning a poop week on story. I have 4 books at this point. So
wow.
For a 5th one, I was like, oh, here it comes. But anyway.
Yeah. If only. I'll have to go and change that manuscript.
What are some questions that you've been asked by your kids, other than that one, that have either just made you laugh or just left you surprised, or that you think you could share?
Just another question that sort of resonated with me, just because I think it was really an important question to my child at the it was impactful. She had asked when she was also very young, maybe, I don't know how old it is, somewhere between the ages of 2 and 4.
Yeah.
I think she's like, why do I grow so slow? And she really believed that she was growing very slowly. And I don't know, these questions, they just there are so many of these questions are just beautiful questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, so many beautiful ones. One that made me laugh this week, well, not this week, it was maybe a couple of weeks ago. A student of mine came to me and he's like, Mr. Lamada, do you attend a lot of funerals? I was like, where's that question coming from? I was like, no, why? And here I was, I was thinking now, how do I answer this question? I was like, well, it depends. And I came up from a society that lives very closely together, and there's family. And so, of course, you're going to have, funerals and things like that happen, also celebrations. But I'm thinking, and then I'm like, yes, it's a complicated, it's not an easy yes or no answer, but why? And then he tells me, he's like, because you're always in fancy shoes. And I was like, are fancy shoes only for funerals? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh. So in his experience, whenever he's seen people in dress shoes, it's been because of attending a wake or something. And so it was just one of those moments where you're like, wow, we need to have a conversation more about that. Different questions that come up. But yeah, that was one that definitely gave me a chuckle this last past weeks.
And also, I know for both of my 2 older kids, they both once thought that when you reach the age of 10, you're set. That is when you become an adult. 10, the double digits. And now my oldest is 10, and she can't believe that she ever believed.
Yeah. Yes, you want to grow until you're like, no.
Yeah.
Moun, I hope to see you soon again. Let's definitely have coffee again soon. Yeah, no, those are definitely some of the best times I've enjoyed our coffee hangouts. Thank you for being here, and congratulations on this book, and I think most importantly, thank you for giving us this wonderful book here.
Thank you for reading it, and I hope everyone who reads it loves it, and I hope it brings you closer.
Yes, no, absolutely. It is. A lovely book. I've absolutely enjoyed it, and thank you too. It is way better reading it in call and response, reading it to somebody else. It is way better, because I tried it after you told me. I tried it. I went back and was reading it on my own, and just to see, to compare, and just, yeah, I love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
think from now on, I'll try today actually in the classroom. I'll try it
Ooh,
with one of my students and
I like
see.
that.
Then I'll see if I can have pairs read it to each other.
Hmm.
Yeah, whoever wants to jump on it. But I think it's a fun way. I think you've just started something big here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
One, I appreciate you so much, and thank you, for just the work you do, and just the human that you are too. Because every time, like, I think you've given me a space to share and just talk, and in this pandemic where we've not been able to see as many people, it's good to have good friends and see, and just people that can just help you relax, help you feel calm, and like you're in a safe space. So thank you so much. And like, I just love you so much. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you.
I will see you very soon. I'll see you on the other side. And to everybody that is joining us today, this has been a special appearance celebrating the new book, I Love You Because I Love You. This one coming from Moun Thi, and of course the amazing, yes, the ever bright illustrations of Jessica Love. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope that you can find a copy of this book, whether it's at your local library, your local indie store, or wherever indeed you find books. Thank you for being here. And as Moun put it, I think, may it open your hearts and bring you closer. I think that is powerful, and we're going to end right there today. Thank you so much. Much love from me and Moun today. Have yourselves a beautiful day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully this is not the last time that we have Moun here, and we'll hope to see you many times on Storytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to our guests and to everybody that joined in today. Absolutely love it. I hope you and your loved ones have a beautiful day. We have another tool in our toolbox to use and indeed share that love, grow that love, and yes, indeed, also getting over the barriers of expressing our love, articulating our love, as Moun says. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime. Please have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday. I will see you again tomorrow for another exciting story. And we are back with one of my favorites, and this one is called Love Is. Yes, indeed. This month of love, this week of love on Storytime. Please do join us for this one. Love Is, coming back from Diane Adams and illustrations by Claire Keane. Another favorite illustrator back on Storytime, and also a beautiful author indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Do join me for that one tomorrow. Today, I am so grateful that we're here together. Yes, another day together, another day of learning, and indeed another day of exploring. Thank you so much for the journey, to Moun Thi, and Jessica Love, and of course to you all for bringing in your little ones. And all you little ones, I send you nothing but hugs, and love. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Go out there into this world and enjoy it. Be the kids that you are. Explore and learn. And adults, may we help nature our little ones so they can have the best experience possible. Life is full of ups and downs, but if we're there with them, holding them all through the way, and indeed guiding them, this earth will be a better place. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you. Much love. Bye. Oh.
Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be